everyone. My name is Dylan. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a senior undergraduate student here at Gallatin with an individualized concentration that's currently titled Critical Race Studies and Decolonial Frameworks of Black Resistance. Before I begin my presentation, I'd like to extend some thank yous to my faculty mentor and advisor, Kim DaCosta, to Piper Anderson and Regina Campbell from the RIKERS Public Memory Project, and to Kaden, Molly, Jimani, Issa, and everyone I met and worked with this summer at Critical Resistance. And of course, thank you to Mehmet, Basuki, Dean Wofford, Kim, Brander, and Connor for all of their support throughout this fellowship experience. My presentation today is titled, The City is Covered in Our Dead Friends' Names, The Urgency of Abolition. This title was inspired by a piece of art by Siobhan Bryant I saw this past July on 15th Street and Broadway in downtown Oakland, California. This summer, we all collectively witnessed a period of sustained rebellion, societal upheaval, and a global reckoning with anti-Blackness and police terror. This political moment highlights both the urgency and necessity of abolition. With this in mind, I'd like to open with a quote from Rachel Herzing. Abolition is an invitation to think about how we want to live together, how we want to be in relationship to the natural world, to property, and to institutions. This is the invitation I'm extending to you all tonight. So I'd like to begin with these images that I took this summer. So in downtown Oakland, Broadway Street turned into a big 2.5-mile art gallery in the wake of uprisings. And really, I want to highlight how art and the importance of movement photography in showing very public symbols of Black abolitionist resistance. Additionally, I'd like to address one of the main critiques that emerged this summer related to looting and property. Black scholar Ronaldo Walcott has spoken about and written on the relationship between policing and property, and echoing his line of thinking, it is important to realize that property damage and destruction is Black refusal and rebellion against white supremacist logics and behaviors, especially in the wake of fatal police violence. Put differently, the United States' continual processes of extraction and dispossession are theft, while looting is a method of direct redistribution of wealth. As has been written on the streets and buildings of numerous cities across the country, you have stolen more from us than we could ever loot. Since I have a limited amount of time, I'm not going to go through these definitions at this moment, but wanted to make sure to provide some working key terms that were relating to my presentation day and the work I did both with the Rikers Public Memory Project and Critical Resistance this summer. As scholar and co-founder of Critical Resistance, Dylan Rodriguez teaches us, it's not police violence if the state sanctions the violence. The police are constantly experimenting with and pushing the defined boundaries of their power further and further to see what the state will allow them to do with impunity. As we saw last month on September 23rd, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron delivered the decision that none of the officers involved in the killing of Breonna Taylor would stand trial for her death. The date September 23rd has particular historical significance, and it's important to note that 65 years earlier on the same day, September 23rd, 1955, 12 white jurors took less than 2 hours to acquit the 2 white men of torturing and killing Chicago native Emmett Till in Mississippi. I bring up these 2 instances to underscore the reality that a white supremacist settler state is not designed to indict itself for the violence it willfully perpetuates. Black people can be killed by the police in their sleep, on the train, in the park, anywhere. Therefore, this is not police brutality because within the US empire, the premature death of Black people is both unfortunately predictable and normative. So rather what we see is not police brutality, but the daily practices of policing systems, which are fundamentally characterized by quotidian acts of state terror. It's for this exact reason that prison industrial complex abolition is so urgent in order to end the war on Black people. So one of the 2 organizations I worked with this summer is Critical Resistance. Critical Resistance is a national member-led organization with chapters in Oakland, Portland, here in New York City, and LA. The mission of Critical Resistance is to build an international movement to end the prison industrial complex by challenging the belief that caging and controlling people make us safe. One thing that I particularly admire about Critical Resistance is that they are at the forefront of what I call holding the line on abolition, meaning that they will not and cannot support any work or reforms that extend the life or scope of the prison industrial complex. So this summer, I mainly supported the Oakland chapter organizer and was a member of various working groups. So in terms of the structure of CR, they have working groups at the local chapter level and at the national level that all are working on different projects on behalf of the organization. So in addition to being in these working groups and working alongside CR members, I conducted research on environmental justice and carceral geography, Black August, which is a month to celebrate the histories of Black resistance around the world and also the Black radical tradition at large, and did some preliminary research on the Oakland Police Department as part of the emerging campaign to defund the Oakland Police Department. Back to the earlier point I mentioned of how CR holds the line in abolition, this can especially be seen in coalition discussions from this summer around defunding the Oakland Police Department. An abolitionist approach to defund work understands that defunding the police is one of many strategies to advance the political vision of abolition. When having conversations around police budget cuts, it is the time to make bold demands. Holding an abolitionist lines means recognizing that you want police departments to not exist, to have $0 and 0 cents. Oakland, the police department's $300 million budget engulfs over 40% of Oakland's general purpose fund and spends 0% of that same general purpose fund on housing and community development. This is particularly troubling given the extreme lack of affordable housing and the high rates of homelessness. Between 2017 and 2019, Oakland's homeless population rose 47%, one of the biggest 2-year increases of any California city. Another major project I worked on this summer was the abolitionist newspaper, or what's affectionately referred to inside of CR as the Abbey. The Abbey is a bilingual English-Spanish publication that's designed to function as an inside-outside organizing tool to advance the strategy and practice of abolition. Each issue of the Abbey is theme-based, and this upcoming issue, which I worked extensively on this summer, is scheduled to be released in late November and will focus on the impacts of COVID-19 on imprisoned people. Moving on to the second organization I worked with this summer was the RIKERS Public Memory Project, which was created, in fact, by Gallatin professor Piper Anderson. Before I talk about this project, I'd like to bring into conversation a quote from an interview with Dylan Rodriguez. "We're talking about the radical, indispensable work of speaking and writing a historical record and compiling a present tense archive. The point is not merely to read and listen, it's to read and listen actively, collectively, and in conversation with other people." The RIKERS Public Memory Project, in my opinion, embodies this ideal. This project is a community truth-telling and healing process designed to further jail closure and advance reparative justice for the folks that were incarcerated and directly harmed by the existence of Rikers Island. The project interviews formerly incarcerated people and directly impacted people to center their voices in shaping the historical memory of Rikers Island by those who were most harmed by the jail complex. These stories combined to form an oral history archive that will then be cataloged as a permanent part of the permanent collection of the New York Public Library. Over the summer, I remotely managed social media, helped to transcribe interviews for the oral history archive, and supported coordination with oral history story collection. As people were beginning to be released from Rikers Island as a result of external organizing pressure due to the spread of COVID-19 inside of jails across the city, this project was able to document in real time the impact COVID and NYC's response was having on people that were locked up, building that present tense archive that Dylan Rodriguez mentions. It's important to note that in March of this year, the Legal Aid Society reported that Rikers Island, which is one of the largest penal colonies in the world, had one of the highest COVID infection rates. I'm really excited to say that currently the project has collected 103 oral histories of Rikers Island, surpassing the ultimate goal of collecting a total of 95 stories. With the election fast approaching next week and an increase in discourse surrounding US fascism, I wanted to end my presentation today with the words of imprisoned Black radical intellectual George Jackson, who was assassinated by guards at San Quentin Prison during a prison rebellion in August of 1971. He said, "Settle your quarrels, come together, understand the reality of our situation. Understand that fascism is already here, that people are dying who could have been saved, that generations more will die or live poor, butchered half-lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done, discover your humanity and your love in revolution. Pass on the torch, join us, give up your life for the people." In order to reject fascism, we must reject carceral reformism. As I referenced at the beginning of this presentation, for some, the streets are covered in their dead friends' names. Let that sink in. In order to end police violence, we must embrace PIC abolition and have the courage to commit ourselves to imagining something better and building that world through abolitionist practice every day. This is my invitation to you all. Please accept it. The need is urgent. Thank you.